Let's go ahead and create a folder in a library. There, you can create folders, several folders within a document library, and creating folders is a way of grouping documents. Since folders in Windows is one of the oldest things, so a lot of people have this understanding of using folders. So it kind of like gives a much clearer view of the different categories or the different folders that you can actually use within a document library and the idea behind it. So let's go ahead and create some folders within the furniture document library. So I'm going to name them in progress, and within this folder I'm going to go ahead and store only those documents which I think are furniture documents which I think are still in progress. So in this case over here, I can just go ahead and click on File and Upload Document, click on Browse, and I'm going to click on Office Furniture 1. Click on Browse, click on Office Furniture 2, check it in. Click upload another document. It's going to be Office Furniture 1. Click on OK and check it in. So if I go back to furniture, then I have one document which is in progress, and I can categorize all those documents which are in progress under this folder. Go in the folder and you can see the documents. List and library columns. It is possible to create and add update columns in lists and libraries to customize them. Different types of columns are single line of text, currency, date and time, yes or no, drop down of options, and more. It is also possible to delete columns except for a few, like the title column. Title column is a very special column. SharePoint does not allow you to delete the title column. There are some other columns as well, like the created by, modified by, created, and modified. So these are columns which get added automatically to the list or library, and they cannot be deleted. So let's go ahead and see how we can add columns to the list and libraries. We're going to add a column by the name sequence to the buyer task list, and this column is going to be of type number. I'm going to use this column to go ahead and rearrange, to go ahead and prioritize my task depending on the sequence. Let's go back to the buyer task, and in the buyer task we're going to go ahead and add another column in here. It's going to be create column. This is an option in the ribbon under manage views. Click on create column, and it's going to open up this page where I can create a column. The new column name is going to be sequence, and these are the different types of column names of different types of columns: single line of text, multiple line of text, choice, number, currency, date and time, lookup column, yes or no, person or group, hyperlink, calculated, task outcome, external data, and manage metadata. Out of all these columns, we're going to be using the most single line of text, which is just regular text. Multiple line of text means that if you have multiple lines of text, then you basically use this. Choice is basically for giving the user a drop down from which the user can select several different, one out of several different choices. Number is numeric. The sequence column is going to be number. It's numeric. Currency is really currency. Date and time is the date and time. Lookup column is a very special kind of column, and this column is used for connecting this list or library to a different list or library. So it's possible to actually see the data of a different list or library in this list as a drop down. We're going to talk about lookup columns down the line. So as of right now, I select number, and down at the bottom, this is required that this column contains information. So if this column is mandatory or not, I'm going to say no for now. Enforce unique values. Do you want the values in this column to be unique? And in my case, it's no. You can specify a minimum or maximum allowed value. In my case, this is not relevant. Number of decimal places, it's automatic, but I'm going to go ahead and set it to 0. I don't want any numeric values. The default value, number, calculated value, and I just don't want nothing. Show as a percent, not even that. So I hit on OK, and this adds the sequence number column to my view. Okay, now I can go back to editing it, and I can sort the order of and I can go ahead and enter the sequence that I have. So I think the most important one is to generate a purchase order. 1, then I'm going to say this is 2, and this is 2, and this is 3, and this is 4. So, and then click on stop editing this list. I might actually have to just go out before I click on stop editing this list. I might just have to go out of this list go out of this list item so that it can actually be saved. By the way, you will also see that the status appears over here on the left hand side, right over here. Click on stop editing this list, and it takes me back to the regular view of the list, and it shows me the sequence. This is the sequence column and the values within it. Now, one of the things that I want to do over here is I want to have the sequence column as the first one in this list. So I want it to appear over here as the first one before the title. So I can click on the modify view, and the views is a very important concept within the SharePoint world. I can modify the view to however I want it. I click on modify view, and it's going to take me to the page where I can modify this view. So up in the top, I see the view name as all tasks, and I see the name of the page as well as all items.aspx page. All items, and I can change the name of this view as well. So I'm not going to change any of that right now, but the only thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and change the order of the sequence. Right now, the complete is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I'm going to go ahead and make sequence number 2. When I change the sequence to number 2, everything else automatically changes. This becomes 3, 4, 5. So I scroll down now, and I click on OK. And it brings me back to my view. It brings me back to my list. And now the sequence of the columns is the way I want it. The sequence is the first one in the list over here, followed by the title. So this is a very simple way of actually rearranging the order of the columns. Now let's go back to the furniture library. Now that we actually did the list, let's go to the furniture library. In the furniture library, let's go ahead and add the version column and remove the modified by column. And this is again a view. So we're going to be modifying the view, and we're going to be removing one column, and we're going to be adding another column. Click on the furniture list. The furniture library. Click on the library tab and click on modify view. In here I scroll down, and this is again the edit view page of the library, which is very similar to the edit view page of the list. In fact, it's exactly the same. The name of this view is all documents, and the name of the page is all items. I can modify the name of the page as well, and I can modify the name of the view as well. I scroll down, and I see that there is the modified and modified by, which is checked. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck modified by because I don't want this. But what I want is a version. I want to take a look at the version of the document. Okay, and I want it to appear before the modified column. The modified column is at the position 3. The version is at 21. So I'm going to go ahead and make this as 3. When I make this as 3, everything gets sorted, and now the modified becomes 4. I scroll down, all the way down, and I hit on OK. This takes me back to my furniture library, and over here I can see the name and the version. And I see that the furniture document is on version 2.1. And modified is about an hour ago, and there's no modified by anymore. Let's talk about sort and filter in the list and library. There is built-in sorting and filtering capabilities. It is possible to sort the entire list ascending or descending order. Filtering works just like Excel, where you can enable filtering on each column in the top right column. Let's do a demo of sort and filter. Let's go ahead and sort and filter by a task on the sequence number. I go to the buyer task, and in here what I have is a sequence, and I can go ahead and sort it by these options up in the top, which is in the header, which is smallest to the top, and it shows me the sequence number in the order that I want. Or I can go ahead and say largest on the top, or I can go ahead and apply a filter, which is I just want to see the task with the highest priority, which is 1, and it shows me only one single task. So this is just like the sorting is just like Excel, where I can go ahead and sort or filter in the header of the list. Now let's go to the furniture, and over here as well I can go ahead and do the same thing, which is if I have version, I can go ahead and do a filter on version 1.0 and see only version 1.0, or I can go ahead and clear the filter from the version and just sort them by the name, which is ascending or descending. So these are some pretty important features of the list and library that I can actually use for sorting. Now let's take a look at deleting and restoring items from list and library. By default, deleted items can be restored from owner's recycle bin within 30 days. After 30 days, it gets permanently deleted from the database. If user empties the recycle bin before 30 days, it goes to the site collections recycle bin. As long as the total size of the deleted item is below 50% of the total size of the site, it is available in the site collections recycle bin. Which is, let's just say that if the site of the size is 5 GB, and if when the site was actually created, the quota was supposed to be no more than 5 GB, and if now the user deletes the content, which is around 3 gigs. Now since 3 gigs is more than 50% of the size of the site, it's not going to go to the site collection recycle bin. It's going to be deleted right away. Else, if there are more than 50%, they get deleted automatically from the site collections recycle bin. And finally, the SharePoint administrator can modify all these settings. None of these settings are hard-coded. All these settings can be very easily modified. Again, if the size of the data which is sitting in the recycle bin of the site is more than 50% of the size of the site, then it does not go to the site collection administrator's recycle bin. It just gets deleted right away. And again, the reason being that it's more than 50% of the size of the site itself. And finally, again, the SharePoint administrator can modify all these recycle bin settings from the central administration tool. And central administration is the name of the tool for administrating SharePoint. A demo for delete and restore of list items. This is something that I'm going to skip because we have covered this in Chapter 2. List alerts. Alerts is a very strong feature within SharePoint SharePoint is capable of sending email notifications or text messages whenever changes are made to any of the list items. Anything in a list changes, any items in a list changes, SharePoint is capable of shooting out alerts, which are either as emails or text messages. You can set up alerts on a list, library, folder, file, or a list item. Use the Alert Me button on the top of the list or library. When you go in the ribbon, you're going to see an Alert Me button. When you click on the Alert Me button, you can go ahead and set up alerts and the kind of alert that you want on this list or library. For email alert, SharePoint admin must configure outgoing email setting in the Central Administration tool. So the Central Administration tool has got a setting for outgoing emails. So it's mandatory that the SharePoint admin configures the outgoing email settings in the Central Administration. If this setting is not configured, then the Alert Me button will not be available. This setting basically tells SharePoint how to send an email out. So if sending the email out is not configured, then there's no way that SharePoint would know how to send out an email. And SharePoint is smart enough to go ahead and disable the Alert Me button to indicate to the user that, hey, outgoing emails are not configured, so I might as well now show you the Alert Me button. Types of list alert are alert changes item, list item, new items are added, when new only, when exist modified, items only, and the free alerts could be immediate, daily. So these are the types of set up on the list. If any changes, one is changes are kind of change the list item, shoot an alert out. So pretty soon you're going to see down the line you can actually use all these to keep your informed content with the library. Just like libraries have very similar. The library are thing change and an alert. If someone else changes a document which is mine, send an alert. If someone else changes a document which is not mine or which is created by me, then send me an alert. If someone else changes a document which was last modified by me, send me an alert. Following documents, view news feed. So there are several different alerts that can actually be set up on a library. And again, the frequency of these alerts could be immediate, daily, or weekly. So now let's go ahead and do an alert in the buyer task list. And this alert is going to be we're going to be configuring a new alert. So let's go to the buyer task. Let's go to the task header and select any other documents that you want and click on Alert Me up in the top. And this is going to show me two options: set alert on this item, which is currently disabled, or manage my alerts. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck all these and just make sure that only one is check marked, and now I'm going to go ahead and try clicking on Alert Me again, and it shows me set alert on this item now. I click on set alert on this item, this box pops open, and then the alert title is buyer task, identify products to purchase. I can go ahead and add any of the content to it, like this is an alert. Send alerts to, and this is, since I'm logged in as a system account, this is me. I can go ahead and specify any of the user in here. Aaron P. Oops, user is not found. Aug batch. I know Aug batch is a user. And now I can specify if this alert is going to be an email alert or a text alert. The text alert is SMS, and it's disabled right now because I have not configured the text alerts. Only email alerts are set up. And now here's the kind of alerts that exist for a list. When anything changes, when someone else changes an item, when someone else changes an item created by me, when someone else changes an item last modified by me, someone else changes an item that appears in the following view. And I could go ahead and create a brand new view, and this view can have several different filters, and we're going to see the power of views pretty soon. And this is the frequency: send notifications immediately, send daily summary, send a weekly summary. Okay. Now I'm going to hit on OK, but for me this might not work because my email server is not properly configured. It is configured, but it's not properly configured. Yet I'm gonna hit on OK. And I get this error message because the following user do not have an email address specified. And none of my users have any email address specified, but if I did, this would just be saved without an error message. Even with this error message, I can still go back to alert me and take a look at manage my alerts, and I'm gonna see that the alerts that I have specified in here. The only reason why I don't see the alert that I have just created is because that alert was not created for me. It was created, I created that for somebody else. So let's go back to my buyer task and click on tasks, click on alert me. Actually select a task, click on alert me, and click on set alert on this item. And this time I'm gonna save it for the system account, which is me. Hit on OK. I might just get the error message, which is perfectly okay because I don't have an email address. But I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna go to manage my task and see if there's any alerts created for me. And yes, I create this alert for myself, and this is the frequency of the alert, and this is the alert itself, and this is the delivery method of the alert. So this covers the entire chapter 3, and we covered a lot. And please go through the exercises and practice those exercises in chapter 3. Thank you.